All right, everybody. Same day, I was working on the 661. This one's going to be a quick build for a coworker. He's a pretty good guy, so starting out with a 16-inch 325 63 thousandths bar. You can see this thing is pretty nasty, so new air filter, of course. Brand new OEM from a steel dealer. We're going to do SKF bearings and I believe BOA seals. If need be, we got a Meteor piston, a K20 carburetor kit. Hopefully it is a Walbro, not a Zama, but we'll see what happens. And that should do it for the most part. But right now in this video, I'm just going to do a complete teardown. Now, I will say I've got a love-hate relationship. I like the 250. I don't run one personally. This is also why. Look at that. Somebody ran this thing. Hold on. Somebody ran this thing without a filter on it. That's why I'm ripping it down. He wanted the guy that's buying this from me wanted a cheaper saw. He's not like a cheapskate, but he's like, hey dude, I don't need a big saw. I don't need a hot rod saw. Just, he's like basically wanted a 250 or something equivalent. He just needed something standard with a 16. But I like these because there's really not a whole heck of a lot to them. I feel like the 250 is like the old school, you know, 70s era pickup truck. You know, basic, not a whole lot to them, not a whole lot to go wrong. There we go. So, next on the agenda, I'm going to pull the throttle in. Oops, sorry. Pull the throttle in. You can see that. Cross it, give it a little twist back and forth, and you can pop that whole thing out. There's your throttle rod and sawdust coming out because this, as per usual, has never been cleaned. I'm left wondering sometimes why people don't just clean their saws once in a while. I mean, running a saw without an air filter also is not a good thing. There we go. But I mean, it takes very little effort just once in a while to take some compressed air, take a brush to it, just clean it up, and you could prevent a lot of this. All right, it's looking like I'm going to need a new fuel line. This is kind of hard. Okay, get off of there. There we go. There we go. There we go. Got it, finally. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a new fuel line on this. That's pretty raunchy right there. Okay, sadly this is a Zama, so I'll have to get a different carb kit if it requires a carb kit. Probably ought to do a new tank vent. That one's ripped. That was not for me, that was how it came off. Alright. I've got plenty of these gaskets right here, so I'm not going to try and save this one. I already know what configuration gasket it is. I've done quite a few of these saws. Like I said, this one right here to me is one of my favorites because it is just so simple. There it went, finally. Had to find the right spot. This thing might get a new intake and a new fuel line. We'll see how the impulses look here in a minute. All right, next for the easy teardown. Of course, we'll pull this off real quick, but one thing to kind of keep in mind, you can use an impact. Look at how nasty that is. That thing has never been cleaned. You saw how my 661 came apart. You see how I treat it. All right. That AV mount is also destroyed, so we'll fix that up for him. This saw is not a lost cause. I'm gonna show you how to, I got this for pretty cheap. I knew I could do a little bit of work to it and make it actually a functional saw again. That's kind of the only downside is a lot of people, they don't know how to do not just the repairs, but also like the maintenance. Okay, let's take our trusty T27 right here. This thing is going to get the usual, the bath, dish soap, detergent. Okay. All right, there's that. You can see the front AV mount was completely ripped out, so I'll have to replace that one. I think there was even a plug missing. This whole saw has been pretty nasty so far. Fortunately, most all these screws are the same. All right, come on. Come on, baby. Ah, there you are. Nasty. Wow, I'm impressed. That is, without a doubt, one of the nastiest 250s I think I've been in a very, very long time. Not just saying that. I mean, it's... You can't even tell where the coil ends and the sawdust begins. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to pull this kill switch wire out. Comes out like that. Pull the next one up. Just poked that thing through. Reach in there, grab the impulse line, pull straight down, and it comes up. All right. Snake the fuel line out, and the kill switch wires, don't give them a yank. All right, you can see right here, that's completely destroyed right there. Which leads me to wonder, this was supposedly a running saw, and I have no reason to doubt it. I never tried starting it. But we'll see once we get in there what condition the cylinder is in and just what condition the whole saw is in. A little WD on those real quick. Always hit them with WD first. That's going to be your safest bet. A lot of times people hesitate on that. They don't. They try to just break it loose dry. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. That is rough. Okay. That's not bad though. All right, the rings look good. Piston skirt looks good all the way around. So yeah, it's worth salvaging. Okay. He's not looking for a real expensive saw, just a good performing saw. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to show you what I tend to do on these because I've got a careful way of doing it. Okay, I've run the screw back on just a little ways. And from one side or the other, try not to get my face in here. you need to put just a little bit of pressure on between the cylinder and the flywheel. So we're gonna go maybe right about there. All right, brass punch and a hammer. Okay, so I tapped it in just a little bit. I didn't go crazy with it. Put the brass punch on here. Did you see that? Flywheel's loose now. And I didn't do any damage to the cylinder, the flywheel, the nut, the crank. We're all good there. All right. Oh, I did do a little divot on the fin, but compared to what I've seen other people achieve doing that or similar stuff, that's not very much damage. I was actually very careful. That's our two ground wires. One goes to the coil, one goes to the kill switch. You can't really tell right now because the whole thing is so nasty. He's gonna need a new sprocket. Needle cage looks pretty decent. Let's settle that back there. All right, now let's do this real quick. Oh, swap out for the correct torques. Like I said, these are very quick saws to tear down. There it is. All right. All right, we're gonna trip it. There we go, that's better. A little bit safer. I'm gonna take a scrunch real quick. Get up under there. All right, these are the basic homeowner model. So they have this crossbar right here. That doesn't mean it's inferior or bad. That just means it's not like the pro grades. They have a slightly different one. Bushing that goes on top, underneath that. Okay, we're gonna come back here. Pop that up out of the way. Take that whole thing out. All right. Now we're going to lift this whole thing. So there's one retaining clip in there as of right now. Pull it up. There it went. Okay, that actually finally came out. All right. Now we're going to swap out our 13 mil on the big impact. That is not an impact, that is a screw gun. It has a clutch. I can set the torque so I don't destroy whatever I'm putting together. We're gonna go to a 19 mil. Set the impact in forward. Top, this one's gonna be a little bit different than what I normally do. Pull that off of there. All right, that is pretty much everything to get this clamshell to the point where we can take it apart. Like I said, I like these because of how easily they come apart. Being honest, I've never really disrespected the MS250 because it is what it is. The person who is buying an MS250 normally is not the kind of person who's doing professional tree care or professional cutter. They're the average person that just needs a chainsaw to cut their firewood about once a year. There it is. All right, there's the engine out. I don't really see a whole lot wrong other than that this thing really needs a bath. I might take this to the car wash and hit it first. I think we're gonna call it right there for today. We'll talk to you later. Take it easy. Bye.